on to the officers report again, the financial report.
All right, so go ahead.
So I was just verifying, on that resolution 2025-05, it said the board chair, the vice chair, and the chief. That's what,
I just was reading through that myself.
okay, I thought you just said,
I did just say the chair and the chief, but.
we trust him.
So we're not striking that.
No.
Okay,
It's as
we, okay, just want to make sure we approved it.
Yeah.
I want to clarify.
Thank you. Sorry.
You're fine. Okay, my report starts on page 27. Balance sheet current year, previous year. Assets, liabilities, equity, basically fund balance. Any questions on any of that? Page 28 is profit and loss year-to-date comparison, this year versus last year, same time. You'll notice the service fees are still up, so that's 87,000 over last year at the same time. You'll see sales tax is down. Means our annual payment is down, which is not down near as much as we expected it to be, so that's still actually over budget. And then expenses, of course, are higher than last year. Any questions on that?
Yes, professional fees is because we're paying for the year.
Professional fees, it's because I'm not an employee where I'm outsourced, so that's the most of it. Legal fees are a little higher too, but that's the most of it. Any other questions on that? 29 is that income versus expenses graph. Last 5 years. Page 30 is capital expenses year to date. I think the big change there was unit 10. Everything else has been there. And of course, some additional on station ingredient as well. Page 31 is the budget year to date. So the budget as of 3/31, not the entire annual budget. We're at 109% of budget, so 9% over where we budgeted for revenue. Expenses are at 94.63% of budget, so they're under budget. So we got favorable variances for both revenue and expenses. Any questions on that? Page 32 is the budget for actuals. This is for the annual budget, so about 25% is where we should be. And then there's also more details on the budget versus actuals. Again, you can see operating revenue is about 5% above budget. We're at 29.89%. Pretty much everything was right at 25% or under 25%, unless it was like a timing difference type of item. So board of directors expense, those happen when they happen, they're not spread out over the year, so that's a timing difference there. As far as wages and salaries, it's at 25.7% of the budget, so pretty darn close, being on target there.
Which line reflects dispatch?
Dispatch, there is actually a line that's under communications.
Is that the 165,000?
So dispatcher fees is on page 33, about halfway down.
Page 33, okay. Yeah, are we still anticipating another tranche of outgoing funds to 911? Are we in a position to?
They may ask, I don't believe we're in a position financially to do anything. We don't know what we're doing.
If we did have to take that hit, where would we go and what is our current, how many days? We used to have that so many days, but if we look at all of our uncommitted funds, how how many days would we go unencumbered, not assuming that we were still honoring our commitment on the future ambulance purchases and stuff? Where are we sitting?
Well, I would have to add that, or calculate that, because this year we're gonna be, our budget, our expenses are in excess of revenues, about 2.3 million. So that's gonna eat into what our reserves are.
And then, but our reserve number that we used to use, we've committed some of that future dates, so.
So there's 7.7 is what the balance was as of April 16th. So it's gonna be about 5.2, which is,
I do anticipate them dunning us again for this fiscal year, and I'm wondering if we have a plan to do that. Or just simply drop it out of the reserve, is that what we'll do?
Well, I mean, so I'm sure like, I mean, out of curiosity, so election costs, we're only at 53%, and we're not expecting any more elections this year, are we? Okay, right.
right,
Okay,
So half of that number is,
but I'm just saying there's other parts in this budget that we're not gonna go over, so that was basically, we still have $3,000 in that.
I guess my question is, are we gonna tighten our belts across the board on these things, or are we just gonna rob the rainy day fund? If we end up being pressured to make an additional payment for dispatch.
and I don't know, you can speak to this better than I can, but I don't know where.
I don't
Cut.
know there is a place that we can cut. I mean, I understand they may kind of need money, but I don't know where we can pull from. I mean, the things that we've allocated the money for are super important to what we're doing. I mean, I know it's super important for them to answer the 911 phone and dispatch calls, but I mean, we have to be able to provide ambulance service at the same time. And if we start taking away from unit purchases or taking away from other things that we need to survive, I feel like that's going to
Our
shoot.
unit purchases are not, they're already baked in the cake. So there's that difference between what's encumbered, what's budgeted, what's future encumbrances, whatever's left. Is that where we would go, or will we try to moderate some of these other expenses?
I mean, we could, I mean, I'm not sure what.
Just in preparation, if we decide we end up having to fork over the bucks.
I'm not sure where we would moderate our current expenses at. I mean, if we look at the capital expenses.
We've already kind of allocated some of that money to Station 3 as well. We've already moved things like Unit 11, we've kind of pushed that already.
Well, I can try to
We're not gonna have
explain
it.
to the family, we can't spend the same dollar twice, okay? So
Right.
that's.
That's what I'm
make a
saying though.
decision.
So that Unit 11, that money there that's set aside for Unit 11, we've said we're not gonna get that this year, so we can use that towards Station 3, because Station 3 is gonna cost more than what we've got budgeted.
But that's still money that we've anticipate spending out of the 7 million we already have.
Correct.
So
But next
I
year,
would count that as being encumbered, not,
I mean.
we're gonna have to defend that when they start asking for the money. We're gonna have to defend our surplus, you know that.
Yeah, I don't think that we have that big of a surplus. I mean, once we.
Well, they do,
it's less than 6 months.
but they do, they think it.
We have less than 6
That's what I'm at. Where are we? Less than 6 months?
I mean, and I think, you know, I can't speak for anybody other than my end of what I see here. I think it's pretty bad business. I don't know that any of the other paying organizations would want to dip into surplus funds to, you know, I stood pretty firm at the last meeting when we they hit me pretty hard. And I told them then, you know, the voters of Pettis County voted a tax for Pettis County ambulance. They did not vote a tax for Pettis County ambulance and Pettis County Joint Communications. And I sympathize with the position they're in, but there's too many things we're trying to do right now that is hugely important to our community. And I mean, the decision of you guys at the end of the day, if we did kind of pressure us, but I don't think that we have the money to give them. I mean,
I'm just trying to organize a defense or be properly prepared for that time. Because rather than wait until it's on us.
I mean, you know, if you take it all out, the stuff that we're waiting on, building and everything else, I think it's less than 6 months. I mean, last time we figured this all out.
No, it's less than 6
Okay, that's the only question I had.
months. Okay, page, I don't know where we're at. 33 is where we were just talking about dispatch. 34, we just talked about wages and salaries, they're pretty much on target. Information technology, I think that's all timing as well. We bought new computers and papers and software up front, so. Same thing with insurance, we pay for that all up front except for work comp. And then, so the total expenses are 2.7 so far to the end of March, which is 23% of budget, so slightly under budget on expenses as well. Any more expenses questions? Questions about expenses?
The Windsor payment
Uh-huh.
is running above again.
Yes, just slightly, yeah.
Yeah, is it slightly up over expectations and slightly down from last year?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
We anticipated a decline because.
Yeah, it didn't decline near as much as we anticipated. Last year, it was 427,000, and this year it's 424, so it's only $2,400 less.
Correct.
I anticipated it being more than that, but their sales tax has been higher than we kind of estimated, so that's good for them.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
That'll
so
hold the Windsor critics at bay.
I passed you out the profit and loss by class. So what shows you the Pettis County and the Windsor breakout and allocation. Again, revenue is actual revenue. Anything that can be actual, like employee expenses, those are actual. Everything else is allocated based upon payroll expenses. And then we add back the calls that Windsor crews run in Pettis. Any questions on that? And it always looks really good right now because we just had a so that declines as we go. Last year, I think we were, was it 85,000? Any questions on that? Page 37 is sales tax receipts. Year to date, we're at 1.3 million, which is down about 25,000 from last year at the same time, which is 1.86%. Page 38 is the bank balances. On the 16th versus last month on the 19th, it's up 417,000. A good majority of that is all from that winter payment. So, and then the bottom half is year over year, 571,000 up year over year at this point. Pages 39. 47, check register. The bills follow on pages 48, and the details are 49 through 50.
Do we track our healthcare claims through the years so that we know if we're running ahead or behind last year's history and better
About billing
anticipate?
wise?
Yeah, for claims that, when the insurance company at the end of the year says, well, last year we paid this many dollars and we're gonna have to raise your payments.
No, we don't have that information.
But we do have pretty healthy, I know teachers, the teachers had a health history that was pretty darn good for a while, but staff started aging and then it went down and the cost went way up.
Yeah, we
We
don't
have
know
a
that.
young, healthy clientele for the most part.
I mean, we don't really know that till the end of the year, and they tell us the,
Yeah.
the costs, because we don't get that.
Right,
information.
they don't let us in on the cost as a year, so we don't know if we're ahead or behind or say, okay, thanks.
And I mean, a lot of it anymore is prescriptions. It's hard,
Mhm.
so. Any questions on the bills? Not that's.
Any other questions? I'll take a motion to approve payment of outstanding bills. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. New business, the GENT.
Okay, so this is in last meeting's report, starts on page 18, is the GEMT. So this is after they have done agreed upon procedures, the accounting firm did. So what the changes are, is we're gonna owe almost 14,000, and that is all due to the change in the MMIS data. So the MMIS data is the Medicaid data. What we had when we did the report is different than now. So what happens sometimes is they pay us for trips, and then they go back and decide, oh, we shouldn't have paid that trip because it was not a Medicaid trip, they had other insurance, and they take those back. So that's the difference here. The only change, and you can see that on page 37, it lists all the changes to the GEMT report, is the number of transports that were Medicaid fee for service. So I just wanted you guys to see that before I signed it and sent it to them.
That was a positive number last year.
So this is actually from 2022's GEMT. So this isn't our current year GEMT. This is going back. They gave us the money, and now they've said, oh, we gave you too much money. You owe us $14,000 back because your number of transports.
But net, we're still positive on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So you can see that on page 30. Right there, yeah, 33. At the bottom of page 33, that shows you the total net amount we got, the 238,000.
32.
Sorry,
32.
32. No, that's not the right page.
Okay.
It's 34.
34. We're sorry.
Sorry. I saw it.
Yep.
I knew that's what I wanted to look at. Yeah, so 238,000 positive is what we got from GEMT after that change. Any other questions? Okay.
Are there any other questions on the GEMT? Do you need a motion to approve that? No,
So moved.
none needed.
What's wrong?
Change in trustee of the 457B plan.
Okay, so you have the entire 457B plan in your packet, starts on page 39. But really all we're doing is changing the trustees from Roy and myself to Roy and Flo. It's on page 58. Where it lists the trustees. So they're the ones that can approve, when somebody leaves employment, they can approve distributions, they can approve loans, that kind of code.
Take a motion to approve that change.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Change of financial professional for 457B.
So all this is there was a partnership that split up. So we still have the same people taking care of our financial professional portion of the 457B, but because the name of the company changed, they just needed us to sign this and say, it's okay, continue on with this financial professional. Which has been at Wilkinson Advisory Group, been their guesses who's been doing it. As long as I know, 7 years, so.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Take a motion to go into closed session pursuant of RSMO 610.021, section 3.
So moved.
Second.
Becky,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Now.
Yep.